Get Rich Slow with John Wolf. Hey, today I actually have aspiring business owner Grant Headley, who is, in my opinion at least, the best physical therapist in Portland, nay the world. But right now he's working for other people, and we've been talking about how to get him into his own business, his own practice. So, Grant, will you tell me sort of how much are you making now? What kind of hours are you putting in to make that? And what is your goal or aspiration as far as seeking the next stage of your own business?
Yeah, so currently I'm fully employed for supposedly 40 hours a week, although to make that productivity happen and filling those hours with patients, I have to do lots of extra work to make that happen, like meeting other doctors, following up with clients and their families, and communicating and doing chart notes. So it's all part of the job. And let's say, for probably 42 to 50 hours a week, making let's say before bonuses like $5,000 a month plus benefits, and so to support a family on that with one income is proving difficult, and I would like to see what's possible to structure my activity to maintain my quality at work as I grow my specialty in men's health, and provide a great service in solving my clients' health problems while also doing right by my family. And so that's why I need John's help.
Okay, so, and I'm not going to fix that problem for him, but we're going to talk about it. So just to clarify a little bit, it sounds to me like you are working 50-ish hours a week with a doctor level certificate. So he actually has a doctorate in physical therapy. I shouldn't air quotes. It's a real doctorate. And it's kind of somewhere between, I would say, like if he was like a juryman in a union, and if he was sort of also got like the initial MD degree. That's kind of where, is that kind of where that degree would land?
Well, I would say it's just simply the training that a physical therapist has to attain now is graduate level work, and it's an expensive degree, and not easy to attain and maintain as well.
For sure. It has continuing education requirements, just like every high skill trade or MD or whatever.
Right.
Okay, so you're doing that. You're working 50 hours a week, and you're making like $5,000 a month, which that would sound good for an unskilled labor job, but like, A, you're ambitious and working hard and perfecting your craft, but also you paid a ton to get to credential to get here.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really seem to make sense.
And there's a lot of my colleagues that I think are in a similar situation and are struggling with student loan debt, and are having to put their personal and family goals either on hold or someone is not being made whole by the situation. And so I'm going to work hard to try to rectify that, and what we learn along the way we're going to share with you.
So Grant, I think, finds himself in sort of a trap that every big business kind of wants all of its skilled labor to fall into, which is they've sort of worked to disintermediate the high skill labor provider, whatever that type of labor is, I'm trying to make it generic, from the actual sales and business ownership piece, and then, pay the labor the minimum possible and move forward. So the solution, the way you get out of that, whether you're working HVAC or electrician or whatever, is if instead of selling your labor to somebody who's managing the business, which managing a business is a real job, no hate there, if you can sell your labor yourself, you can probably sell it for a lot higher price. And one thing that is very real, although you gain more control, you have your own time of management and your own time of sales, but it sounds like he's doing some of that anyways. And that will, it's the adage is like, hey, I'm self-employed. I work whatever 80 hours a week I want. But, you can make a lot more money doing that. It's sort of in my case, in my profession, I could, with my license, work for Quicken, just sit there and get phone calls and then do my math, and I would make less than 1/10 what I'm making per transaction now, and about half at least what I'm making overall, even if I'm doing a good job there. But I wouldn't have to worry about keeping clients I wouldn't have to worry about referrals. It wouldn't matter to me if clients were happy. It wouldn't matter to me if the real estate agents liked me. And Grant's situation is actually really similar. So Grant works in a physical therapy clinic, and it's set up to bill insurance, and it's set up to take client referrals from doctor sources and stuff like that. And at least at the start, you kind of felt like people just came to you. You didn't have to go shopping for clients.
Yeah, I would say in general that's true, but I think if you are, I would say if we're talking to other healthcare professionals, if you're trying to actively build your career and you have a special skill set or an understanding on how to help a certain type of injury, like in my area of men's health, even though I was employed, I had to go out and create that market, or I had to go out and create those channels. So yes, my business owners, at the beginning took on a lot of risk because I had not built up those channels. But I was actively growing those channels, going out, meeting doctors, writing articles, making contact with all sorts of different health professionals, and creating the channels that I'm enjoying now. And so I'm at the point where, let's say I have a very high level of independence, where most of my clients are coming from channels that I have created, albeit, on company time, but also in my own time as well.
Yeah, and really you own all your own relationships. So that's really, ideally, especially in his type of service industry, the relationships, which is what I do too, the relationships are the most important thing, and the relationships should always be what you carry with you when you found your own company or you move between companies. So, because I'm a mortgage loan officer. I mean, I basically run my own business under the umbrella of somebody else's, and it's very easy for me to pick up and move. And with grants, I don't think there isn't a giant system of PT clinics vigorously trying to steal other PTs and pay them giant bonuses.
I wouldn't say it's systematic, and certainly no giant bonuses that I'm aware of.
And so what he has to do is create his own business, which we're talking about, different business models. So like one of the things that the two biggest things I think that are holding you back in, the most obvious walls for you is there's this insurance billing system that's super opaque, sucks a lot of time, really sucks.
Long billing cycles, so the service you provide, they don't pay you for 60 to 90 days perhaps.
Or more.
Or not at all.
Or not at all. Which is a tough way to run a business if you don't know when or if you're going to get paid for the services rendered. Weird. And then the other thing that's much more generic to most businesses, although having billing timetables is a big problem for most people starting their business actually, is, you're talking to me about siting, like a physical location or other things you could do. So last time we talked, you had the harebrained idea, which is probably a great idea, of actually going to people's homes, having a car or a van, So what did you see the costs comparison in those approaches?
Well, let's just say I have spoken with people doing it successfully in other markets, as well as people doing it in my market as well. So it's not, let's say, a brand new idea. And the things that attracted me to that are a relatively low cost of entry and relatively low overhead in terms of upfront costs, other than having to coordinate going to people's homes and to provide the service at their homes, There are probably some risks there, and you could do it wrong. But that was an attractive aspect where it's like, okay, I believe in my ability to coordinate the area that I would provide service in, and not have to take on a lease on a space that I would then have to maximize the profitability of that space. I would then have to take on employees, and that's sort of where my interest in that became less direct than in providing service at people's homes. So more searching, more information needed to really suss out the cost benefit analysis of that and what I want to do.
Well, employees are a really scary thing because making sure you're feeding yourself and your family is enough pressure.
Yes.
Being really worried about making someone else's payroll and you being the responsible party for that.
That's right.
Is it's pressure. It's serious
pressure. I can only imagine. I've not been in that situation, but yeah, right.
And it's and just beginning that situation myself, it's because the business cycle is always weird. Like you're never gonna have a standard month. Sometimes you're gonna take home less or nothing to make sure the people working from you are.
Yeah.
And even, change their pay scale or whatever for less hours so that they still make their monthly obligations, which is not something that big corporations are super well known for, but small businesses on their own option do stuff like that often.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so that's really interesting. We'll be really inspired. We're going to come back and talk about this again as you step out on your own. We're going to revisit this because I think this is getting long enough now. Do you want to just spend a minute explaining your specialty?
Yeah,
or do you want to save that for later?
Well, let me just say, I perform let's say the urological side of physical therapy. So for men suffering with erectile dysfunction, pelvic pain, and let's say dysfunctions of the pelvis that are musculoskeletal in origin, that's what I do. And this is a growing field that is coming out of women's health, which has a lot more, decades of female physical therapists helping women overcome postpartum issues and pelvic pain. Through my own experience and struggles in this area, and overcoming it, when I became a physical therapist, I was absolutely driven to help men in a similar situation overcome and be better than before. And so that mission is what I'm trying to protect and drive forward so that I can help more men. And I think having someone like John to help me think about these financial issues and planning issues are going to help me reach my professional goals and again, do right by my family and open up opportunities for them as well.
Sweet.
Thanks, John.
Awesome. Well, let's talk next week.
Let's talk next week.
Take care.
Take care.
Get Rich Slow with John Wolf. Bye.